The message came on a Tuesday morning. At first, it appeared on every screen around the world at the same time. TVs, phones, computers, all showed the same strange symbols that glowed with a soft blue light. Eliza Winters stared at her monitor in the Global Space Defense Initiative headquarters. She had been tracking unusual energy readings from the edge of the solar system for weeks. Now this. Can anyone make sense of this? She asked, looking around the room at her team of scientists and analysts. The room was silent until Alan Morgan spoke up. The tall, thin man with glasses pushed forward. "I can," he said quietly. "I've seen this language before." All eyes turned to him. Alan looked nervous. He had kept a secret for years, and now he had no choice but to reveal it. "There's a group out there called the Galactic Council. They've been watching us for centuries. These symbols are their formal language." The room erupted in questions. How did he know? Why hadn't he told anyone? Alan raised his hands, asking for quiet. "I've had contact with them since I was a graduate student. They swore me to secrecy. They've been evaluating Earth for possible membership." Eliza's face hardened. "And you kept this from your own species, from your own planet?" "I had to," Alan said. "It was the only way to learn from them." Before anyone could respond, the symbols on the screens changed. They shifted into English letters. "People of Earth," Eliza read aloud. "After careful observation spanning 300 of your years, the Galactic Council has determined Earth to be unsuitable for contact or inclusion. Your constant wars, your destruction of your own planet, and your inability to unite as a single people marks you as a failed civilization. We officially declare your solar system under quarantine. No species will contact you. No help will be given. You are alone." The room fell silent again. Someone whispered, "This has to be a joke." But Alan shook his head. "It's not. The Council has thousands of member species. They control travel and trade across this part of the galaxy. If they say we're quarantined, we are." Within hours, strange objects began rising from oceans, forests, and deserts around the world. Silent silver spheres that had been hidden on Earth for centuries, monitoring humanity. They rose into the sky and disappeared. World leaders tried to shoot some down, but weapons couldn't touch them. In Washington, the president called an emergency meeting. Eliza and Alan were flown in to explain what they knew. "How bad is this?" the president asked, looking tired and worried. "Very bad," Alan said. "The council doesn't make these decisions lightly. They've cut us off completely. Any advanced civilization that might have helped us will now stay away." "What about the aliens who were already here?" "These monitoring stations?" asked the defense secretary. "All gone," Eliza said. "We've confirmed that every single one has left our solar system. So we're truly alone," the president said. Alan nodded. "More alone than we've ever been. Before, at least there was the possibility of contact. Now we know there are others out there, and they've judged us unworthy." News of the message spread across the world. Some people panicked. Others didn't believe it. Religious groups claimed it was the end times. Scientists argued about what it meant. Eliza watched the chaos from her office window. People were fighting in the streets below, proving the council right. "We need to show them they're wrong about us," she said to Alan, who sat slumped in a chair nearby. "We need to prove we're better than they think." Alan looked up, his eyes red from lack of sleep. "How?" "They'd been watching us for centuries. They've seen our best and our worst." Eliza turned from the window. "Then we need to become something they've never seen before. Something better than we've ever been." She picked up her phone. "I'm calling everyone I know in the space program. The council may have abandoned Earth, but we're not going to abandon ourselves." As night fell, the stars seemed different to everyone looking up. Not distant points of light, but places where other beings lived, places now forbidden to humanity. The quarantine of Earth had begun. 5 years passed since the day Earth learned it was not alone in the universe, only to be told it was unwanted. The initial panic had faded, replaced by something unexpected: unity. Catherine Bauman stood at the window of the Global Unity Alliance headquarters in Geneva. Once a career diplomat, she now led the organization that had brought together nations that had fought for centuries. "Director Bauman, they're ready for you," her assistant said. Catherine nodded and walked to the meeting room, where representatives from every major nation waited. The room fell silent as she entered. "Today marks 5 years since the abandonment," she began. "5 years ago, the Galactic Council left us to die. Instead, we chose to live. Together." On screens around the room, images appeared showing the changes on Earth. Military bases converted to research centers. Weapons factories now building spacecraft. Soldiers learning to be scientists. "The money we once spent killing each other now funds our future among the stars," Catherine continued. "And today, I have good news." The door opened, and Sam Russell walked in. Short, with wild red hair, the engineer looked out of place among the polished politicians, but everyone knew what Sam had achieved. "Tell them," Catherine said with a smile. Sam cleared throat nervously. "We did it. We reversed engineered some of the technology from the monitoring stations that didn't make it out. Dr. Morgan and I figured out how their quantum communications work." A murmur of excitement filled the room. "In simple terms," Sam continued, "we can now send messages and data across vast distances instantly. No delay. This changes everything for our space program." Catherine took over again. "With this technology, we've established real-time communication with our colony on Europa." The screen showed images of the underwater base beneath Europa's ice. Commander Peter Wright's face appeared, beaming with pride from Jupiter's moon. "Greetings from Europa," he said. "All 120 of us are doing well out here, thanks to the new comm system." This was humanity's farthest outpost, a statement of defiance against the quarantine. The room burst into applause. Later that day, Catherine met privately with Alan Morgan and Eliza Winters. "You haven't told the council about the energy readings, have you?" Alan asked. Eliza shook her head. "No, only the 3 of us know about it for now." She brought up images on her tablet. "We're detecting strange patterns at the edge of our solar system, right where the quarantine barrier should be." The images showed a faint web of energy stretching across space. "It's the barrier," Alan explained. "The council uses automated systems to enforce quarantines. No living guards, just machines. And the machines are failing," Catherine realized. Alan nodded. "The council has been gone for 5 years. No maintenance, no updates. The barrier is weakening." "Could we break through?" Catherine asked. Eliza smiled. "We're already building the ship to try. It's called the Defiance." In a massive hangar under the Atlantic Ocean, thousands of workers built humanity's most advanced spacecraft. Designed to test the limits of the quarantine, it combined Earth technology with what they had learned from alien devices. Nora Chen watched the construction from a walkway above. The ship would be hers to command, a responsibility that kept her awake at night. A former airline pilot, she had trained relentlessly for this mission. "Captain Chen," a voice called. She turned to see Sam Russell approaching with blueprints. "We've improved the shield design," Sam said. "If the barrier has any weak points, we'll find them without getting fried." Nora nodded. "How long until we're ready?" 3 months, maybe less." As they spoke, alerts sounded throughout the facility. Security teams rushed to their stations. "What's happening?" Nora asked. A technician ran up to them. "We've detected something entering our solar system. Something big." On screens throughout the hangar, a massive object appeared, moving slowly toward Earth. "Is it the council?" Sam whispered. Nora's eyes narrowed. "No, the council abandoned us, remember. This is something else. And we need to be ready." The mysterious object turned out to be an asteroid, rich with rare metals that Earth needed. It was a stroke of luck, not an alien threat. and it gave humanity the resources to finish the Defiance ahead of schedule. 10 years had now passed since the Galactic Council's abandonment. Earth had changed more in this decade than in the previous century. Captain Nora Chen stood on the bridge of the Defiance. Her ship was smaller than the old space shuttles, but far more advanced. It combined Earth's technology with reverse-engineered alien systems. "All systems check complete, Captain," said her first officer, Greg Collins. "We're ready to launch." Through the view screen, Nora could see Earth below, beautiful and blue, home to the people who had refused to give up. "Mission Control gives us the green light," Greg added. "Director Bauman wants to speak with you." Catherine Bauman's face appeared on the screen. 10 years had added silver to her hair, but not dimmed her determination. "Captain Chen, you carry the hopes of all humanity," she said. "Your mission is simple but dangerous. Find a weak spot in the barrier, break through, and come back to tell us what's out there." Nora nodded. "We won't let you down." The Defiance lifted off smoothly, rising through the atmosphere. The crew of 12 was silent, each aware of the historic nature of their mission. In 3 days, they reached the edge of the solar system where the barrier was believed to exist. "Sensors detecting energy patterns," reported Linda Patel, the science officer. "The barrier is definitely there, but it's not uniform. There are spots where it's stronger and others where it's weaker." Nora leaned forward. "Can we push through at a weak point?" "I think so," Linda said, "but we can't be sure what will happen." Nora looked at her crew. They had trained for years for this moment. "Prepare to breach the barrier. All shields at maximum." The Defiance moved slowly toward the weakest spot they could find. As they approached, the ship began to shake. "Energy levels rising," Greg warned. "The barrier is reacting to our presence." "Keep going," Nora ordered. "Steady as she goes." The shaking grew worse. Warning lights flashed across the control panels. Then suddenly, with a final violent shudder, they broke through. The ship stabilized, and the crew looked at each other in amazement. "We did it," Linda whispered. "We're outside the barrier." Alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. "Something's approaching fast," Greg shouted. "It's another ship." On the view screen, a sleek vessel appeared, far more advanced than the Defiance. It moved with impossible grace, circling them. "They're hailing us," Linda said, sounding surprised. Nora straightened her uniform. "Put them on screen." The alien that appeared had blue skin and large eyes. It looked at them with clear shock. "Humans," it said in perfect English, "outside the quarantine. This is impossible. I am Captain Nora Chen of the Earth ship Defiance." Nora replied, trying to keep her voice steady. "Who are you?" "I am Trader Zax of the Xorian merchant fleet," the alien replied. "Humans have been quarantined for a decade. You should not be here." "We decided not to accept that decision," Nora said simply. The alien made a sound that might have been a laugh. "The council said humans were stubborn. I see they were right about that, at least." Its expression grew serious. "But you've triggered the barrier's alert system by breaking through. Council enforcers will come to investigate." "How long do we have?" Nora asked. "Not long. You should return to your system immediately." Greg leaned close to Nora. "Captain, this might be our only chance to learn about what's out here." Nora nodded and turned back to the alien. "Trader Zax, before we go, can you tell us why the Council has been so distracted? The barrier is clearly not well maintained." The alien hesitated before answering. "The Council faces a great threat. The Void Collective has returned. They're consuming entire systems." It paused. "That's why your quarantine was never lifted. The Council doesn't just think you're violent. They're afraid of what might happen if the Void gets hold of humanity." Before Nora could ask more questions, alarms blared on both ships. "Attack incoming," Trader Zax shouted, his blue face paling to a lighter shade. "Void ships approaching." Through the view screen, Nora saw 3 black vessels appear. They looked like spiders with long legs stretching out from a central body. They moved fast, heading straight for the Xorian trading post nearby. "We need to go," Greg urged. "This isn't our fight." Nora hesitated. "We can't just leave them." "Captain, we have orders to return with information," Linda reminded her. Nora watched as the void ships fired on the trading post. The station's shields flickered under the assault. "Prepare weapons," Nora ordered. "We're going to help." Her crew looked surprised but moved quickly to obey. The Defiance turned and headed toward the battle. "Captain Chen, what are you doing?" Trader Zax's voice came through the comm. "You cannot hope to defeat void ships." "Maybe not," Nora replied. "But we can help evacuate your people while you hold them off." The Defiance moved alongside the trading post. Jake Martinez, the tactical officer, studied the attacking ships. "Their pattern is predictable," he said. "They attack in waves, always from the same angles." "Can we disrupt that pattern?" Nora asked. Jake nodded. "Ancient Earth naval tactics might work. They expect frontal defense, not flanking maneuvers." "Do it," Nora ordered. The Defiance darted between the void ships, firing at unexpected angles. The black ships seemed confused, breaking their formation. "It's working," Greg exclaimed. While Jake kept the void ships distracted, the Xorians evacuated their trading post. Trader Zax's voice came through again. "Humans, I never expected this. You fight like nothing I've seen before." "We're improvising," Nora explained. "Your enemies are too rigid in their tactics." The last Xorians escaped as one of the void ships exploded under the Defiance's fire. The other two retreated, disappearing as quickly as they had arrived. Later, aboard Trader Zax's larger vessel, the Xorians welcomed the humans with amazement. "You saved many lives today," Zax said. "The Council said humans were too violent to join Galactic Society, but they never said your violence could be used to protect." "We prefer to call it defense," Nora corrected gently. A tall Xorian approached them. "Your tactics were unusual but effective. I have studied many species battle approaches, but yours was creative." Jake explained. "I used naval tactics from Earth's World War II. Sometimes old ideas work against new enemies." The Xorians looked at each other in surprise. One of them said, "Perhaps this is why the Void fears humans. You think differently. We would like to take you to our homeworld," Trader Zax announced. "Our leaders should meet you." Nora thought about her orders to return home immediately, but this opportunity was too important. "We accept," she said, "but I need to send a message to Earth first." The Xorians provided a communication system that could penetrate the barrier. Nora recorded a message explaining what had happened and their change of plans. As the message was sent, Greg approached her privately. "Captain, are you sure about this? We're going further from home." "I am," Nora said. "Earth needs allies, not just information. This could be our chance." 3 days later, the Defiance arrived at the Xorian homeworld, a beautiful green planet orbiting a yellow sun. The humans stared in wonder at the alien city below, with towers that seemed to be made of crystal. "It's magnificent," Linda whispered. As they prepared to land, a message came from the planet's surface. It wasn't from the Xorians. "Human vessel," a stern voice said. "This is Council Enforcement Ship Rigel. You have violated quarantine protocols. Prepare to be boarded and return to your system immediately." Trader Zax looked alarmed. "They found you faster than I expected." Nora set her jaw. "We didn't come this far to be sent home like children. Tell your leaders we need to meet now before the Council takes us." "What will you do?" Zax asked. "I'll make them understand that humanity isn't what they think," Nora replied, "and that they need us more than they know." The Council ship was larger than the Defiance, shaped like a perfect silver disk. It hovered above the Xorian landing pad, where Nora and her crew stood with Trader Zax. "Please, go with them peacefully," Zax urged. "The Council enforcers are not known for patience." We didn't come all this way to give up, Nora replied. She looked up at the ship. But we won't fight either. A beam of light shot down from the council ship, and 3 tall figures appeared. They had pale green skin and wore silver uniforms. Their eyes were large and black, showing no emotion. Captain Nora Chin, the tallest one, said, "You have broken quarantine laws. Your ship and crew will return to Earth immediately." "My name is Enforcer Lux," it continued. "I am authorized to use force if needed." Before Nora could respond, a group of Xorians rushed toward them. At their head was an older Xorian with elaborate markings on his blue skin. "Enforcer Lux," the elder Xorian called. "I am Chief Trader Vex. These humans saved many of our people from a void attack. They deserve a hearing before the council." Lux looked surprised. "A void attack? Here?" "At our outer trading post," Vex confirmed. "These humans fought bravely. Their tactics confused the void ships." The enforcers talked quietly among themselves. Finally, Lux turned back to Nora. "This changes things. The council will want to hear about this encounter. You will come with us to the council station." Nora nodded. "My crew comes too." "Agreed," Lux said after a moment. As they prepared to leave, a new ship appeared in the sky. It was clearly of Earth design, but larger and more advanced than the Defiance. "Captain Chin," a familiar voice called over the comm. "This is Dr. Morgan. Looks like we arrived just in time." Nora couldn't hide her shock. "Dr. Morgan, how did you get here?" "We've been busy back home," Alan replied. "When we got your message about the Void Collective, Director Bauman ordered us to bring the prototype fleet. The Earth ship landed nearby." Alan Morgan stepped out, followed by Sam Russell and a team of Earth scientists and soldiers. The council enforcers looked stunned. "Impossible," Lux whispered. "Earth shouldn't have this level of technology for at least another century." Alan smiled. "We've been motivated to advance quickly. Abandonment does that to a species." 2 days later, they all stood before the Galactic Council. The chamber was enormous, with seats for representatives of dozens of alien species. Most of those seats were empty. "The Council has lost many members to the Void Collective," Alan whispered to Nora. "That's why there are so many empty chairs." Director Catherine Bauman had arrived with a second Earth fleet. She now addressed the Council, standing tall despite her age. "Honored Council members," she began. 10 years ago, you abandoned Earth. You judged us unworthy of joining your community. Yet here we stand, having breached your barrier, developed technology you thought beyond us, and even fought successfully against the enemy you fear." A council member with 4 arms and crystal-like skin leaned forward. "Human, you speak boldly for a species under quarantine." "We are no longer under quarantine," Catherine replied firmly. "We broke through, and we found your barrier failing, just like your war against the void." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Another council member, who looked almost human except for his golden eyes, spoke up. "Director Bauman, I am Counselor Jax. What you say about our war is unfortunately true. We are losing against the Void Collective." "Perhaps you need a new perspective," Catherine suggested. "Earth has a long history of warfare. We know how to fight enemies that seem unstoppable." "Are you offering alliance?" Jax asked, sounding surprised. "Conditional alliance," Catherine corrected. "Earth will help you fight the Void Collective. In exchange, you acknowledge our independence and our right to join galactic society as equals." The crystal-skinned council member stood up angrily. "This is outrageous. I am Counselor Zix9, and I will not allow a quarantine species to dictate terms." Catherine smiled calmly. "We're not dictating. We're negotiating. Something humans are very good at, along with fighting." Jax looked thoughtful. "The Council will consider your offer, Director Bauman. But know this, we abandoned Earth because we feared what humans might become. I'm not sure that fear was misplaced." 3 weeks passed while the Council debated. The humans waited on a space station near the Council headquarters. Earth ships continued to arrive through the breach in the barrier, showing just how quickly humanity had advanced. Then the news came that changed everything. The Void Collective had launched a massive attack on a major Council world. The Council's defensive fleet was failing. Counselor Jax himself came to the humans with the news. His golden eyes were dull with worry. "The planet Luria is under attack," he said. "Our best ships cannot stop them. The Void has changed its tactics." Catherine Bauman looked at Nora, Alan, and the other Earth leaders gathered in the meeting room. "This is our chance to prove ourselves," she said quietly. She turned back to Jax. "We will help defend Luria." Jax looked relieved. "The Council has not yet decided on your status." "We're not asking permission," Catherine interrupted. "We're offering help. Take it or leave it." Jax nodded. "We accept your help." Within hours, 15 Earth ships led by the Defiance were on their way to Luria. Jake Martinez had been promoted to tactical commander for all Earth forces. He studied the battle reports during the journey. "The Void ships follow patterns," he explained to the gathered captains. "But they change those patterns when the enemy adapts. That's why the Council forces keep losing." "So what do we do?" Nora asked. Jake smiled. "We don't adapt. We stay unpredictable. We use human history. Guerrilla warfare, blitzkrieg tactics, naval flanking maneuvers, all at once. They won't know what to expect." When they arrived at Luria, the battle was going badly. The blue-green planet below was beautiful, with 3 moons and vast oceans. But the space around it was filled with the spider-like void ships attacking the Council's silver disk vessels. "Council ships, pull back and regroup," Nora commanded over the comm. "Earth fleet, implement Martine's protocol." The Earth ships broke into 3 groups. They attacked from different angles, using different tactics. Some charged straight in. Others hid behind moons and struck from ambush. The Defiance led a group that weaved through the enemy formation, causing confusion. On board the Council command ship, the alien admiral watched in amazement. "What are they doing?" he asked. "There's no coherent strategy." His second-in-command shook his head. "That's the point, sir. They're being unpredictable." The Void ships struggled to respond. They would adapt to one Earth tactic only to be hit by a completely different one from another direction. Meanwhile, engineer Olivia Parker worked on the Defiance's shield systems. She had studied Earth's ocean creatures and noticed something important. "Captain," she called to Nora, "octopuses change color and texture to hide from predators. I can make our shields do something similar with energy signatures." "Do it," Nora ordered. Soon the Earth ships were shifting their energy patterns, confusing the Void ships' targeting systems. The tide of battle turned. As the last Void ships retreated, cheers erupted across the Earth fleet. The Council ships moved in, their commanders sending messages of thanks and amazement. Back at Council headquarters, news of the victory spread quickly. Catherine Bauman was invited to address the full Council. "Humans achieved what our best fleet commanders could not," Counselor Jax announced. "They saved Luria and its billion inhabitants." Even Counselor Zix9 seemed impressed, though still suspicious. "I admit the humans fought well, but there is something strange here. The Void seems unusually interested in humans. They committed many ships to this battle when they learned Earth forces were present." "What are you suggesting?" Catherine asked. "I believe the Void wants humans specifically," Zix9 said. "And I want to know why." After the meeting, Zix9 approached Nora privately. The crystal-skinned alien studied her with cold eyes. "Captain Chen, there is something about humans that the Void Collective fears or desires. I intend to discover what it is." "Let me save you the trouble," Nora replied calmly. "We're stubborn. We don't give up. And we don't like being told what we can't do." Zix9's crystal face didn't show emotion, but his voice had a new tone. Something like respect. "Perhaps, or perhaps there is something more. Something even you don't know about yourselves. Dr. Alan Morgan couldn't sleep. Since arriving at the council station, he had requested access to their historical archives. At first, they had refused. But after the victory at Luria, doors began to open. Now he sat in a small room, surrounded by holographic displays showing ancient council records. His eyes were red from lack of sleep, but he couldn't stop reading. "No," he whispered. "This can't be right." He downloaded the files to his datapad and rushed to find Catherine Bauman. He found her in a meeting with Nora Chen and other Earth leaders. "I need to speak with you," he said urgently. "All of you." Catherine nodded. "What is it, Ellen?" "The council lied to us," he said, placing his datapad on the table. "They didn't abandon Earth because we were violent or destructive. They quarantined us to protect us." Silence fell over the room. Catherine leaned forward. "Explain." Alan activated the datapad, showing ancient star maps and records. "The Void Collective wasn't always our enemy," he explained. "It was created by an earlier version of the Council, thousands of years ago. It was a weapon, designed to fight in a war against another galactic power. A weapon that got out of control," Nora guessed. Alan nodded. "Exactly. But here's the important part." He pulled up an image of Earth from thousands of years ago. "Humans are not native to Earth. We're descendants of a rebel faction that fled Council space during a civil war. We've been hidden on Earth for our own protection." The room erupted in shocked whispers. Catherine raised her hand for silence. "Are you sure about this?" she asked. "The records are clear," Alan replied. "Our isolation allowed us to develop differently from other Council species, and that's why the Void wants us. We're different. Our brains work differently." "Different how?" asked Sam Russell, who had been quiet until now. "Our neural patterns resist Void influence," Alan explained. "Most species can be partially assimilated by the Void, their minds linked to the collective. But humans resist this process naturally." Catherine stood up. "I need to speak with the Council immediately. They'd been hiding our own history from us." An hour later, they stood before the full Council. Catherine's voice was cold with anger as she confronted them. "You knew," she said. "You knew humans were descendants of your own people. You quarantined us not because we were dangerous, but because you were protecting some ancient secret." Counselor Jax looked uncomfortable. "Director Bauman, these records Dr. Morgan found are very old. Few council members even knew of their existence. But some did," Catherine pressed, "including whoever ordered our quarantine." Counselor 69 stood. "I knew," the crystal being admitted. "I am older than most council species. I remember the war that led to your ancestors fleeing to Earth." "Why keep it secret?" Nora demanded. "Why tell us we were abandoned for being violent?" "Because the truth was more dangerous," 69 replied. "If the Void Collective discovered your true nature, they would stop at nothing to either destroy you or assimilate you. Your minds are the key to their evolution." Sam Russell looked thoughtful. "That's why they changed tactics when they learned humans were fighting. They want to capture us, not kill us." The council chamber doors suddenly burst open. A council security officer rushed in. "The Void Collective has changed course," he announced breathlessly. "All their ships, every battle group, they're heading directly for Earth." A cold silence fell over the chamber. Counselor Jax turned to Catherine. "They know," he said simply. "They've discovered what humans truly are." Catherine's face hardened. "Then we need to get back to Earth immediately. Our people need to be warned." 69 surprised everyone by saying, "The Council will help you. I was wrong about humans. You deserve to know your heritage, and you deserve to be protected." "We don't need protection," Nora said firmly. "We need allies who will fight beside us as equals. Earth won't fall without a fight." 69's crystalline face seemed to shimmer, almost like a smile. "Then let us hope that the special nature of human minds is as powerful as our ancient records suggest, Because the Void Collective is about to throw everything they have at your homeworld. Earth's skies filled with ships. Human vessels stood side by side with Council ships, forming a defensive line around the planet. This was humanity's last stand. Catherine Bauman stood in the Global Unity Alliance Control Center, surrounded by screens showing the approaching Void fleet. It was massive, far larger than any force they had faced before. "All defense systems ready," reported Sam Russell. "Every nation has contributed everything they have." "The Void will be here in 20 minutes, Alan Morgan said quietly. Nora Chen's voice came through the comm. She was commanding the Defiance at the front of Earth's fleet. "We're in position, Director. Council ships are following Jake's battle plan." Catherine nodded. "This is it, then. The moment that decides everything." On the Defiance, Nora watched the black ships of the Void Collective approach. There were hundreds of them, maybe thousands. The odds seemed impossible. "Captain," Jake Martinez called from his tactical station, "I've been studying the Void formations. They're moving differently this time. More organized, more focused." "They want us badly," Nora replied. "Let's make them work for it." The battle began suddenly and violently. The Void ships attacked with a new intensity, pushing hard against the defensive line. Earth and Council ships fought desperately, but the line began to buckle. In the control center, Sam Russell worked frantically at his console. "The Void ships are communicating in a way we haven't seen before. They're coordinating perfectly. Can we disrupt that communication?" Catherine asked. Sam looked up, an idea forming. "Maybe. Their network is similar to our quantum communication system, but more complex." "Do whatever it takes," Catherine ordered. As the battle raged in space, Counselor Zix-9's ship moved to the front line. The crystal being had insisted on fighting alongside humans, despite his previous distrust. "Human tactics are effective," Zix-9 communicated to Nora, "but they are adapting too quickly." "We need more time," Nora replied. "Sam is working on something that might turn the tide." Zix-9 was silent for a moment. Then, "My species can disrupt energy patterns for short periods. We can create a temporary break in their advance." "At what cost?" Nora asked. "My ship will not survive," Zix-9 replied simply. Before Nora could protest, Zix-9's ship drove straight into the center of the Void formation. A brilliant light flashed, and dozens of Void ships froze in space. "Now," Nora commanded. "All ships, focus fire on the disabled targets." The defensive line surged forward, destroying the paralyzed Void ships. But the victory was short-lived. More enemy ships kept coming. In the control center, Sam suddenly shouted, "I've got it. Their communication system has a weakness. If we broadcast on all frequencies at once, using our quantum network." "Do it," Catherine ordered. Sam activated his program. Every communication device on Earth, every satellite, every ship began broadcasting the same signal, a pattern based on human neural waves, the very thing the Void wanted to capture. In space, the Void ships suddenly stopped attacking. They seemed confused, their movements becoming erratic. "It's working," Jake reported. "They can't coordinate." Nora seized the moment. "All ships, attack now. Focus on their command vessels." The Earth Council fleet surged forward. Without coordination, the Void ships fell quickly. Some retreated, disappearing into deep space. Others were destroyed. A few simply shut down, drifting powerless. Hours later, the battle was over. Earth had survived. In the Global Unity Alliance Hall, representatives from Earth stood with Council members. Catherine Bauman addressed them all. "Today marks a new beginning," she said, "not just for Earth, but for all Council worlds. We have proven that together, we are stronger than apart." Councillor Jack stepped forward. "The Council recognizes Earth as a sovereign power in galactic politics. Your quarantine is officially lifted. And more than that," he continued, "we ask for Earth's help in rebuilding the Council itself. Your unique perspective may be exactly what we need." Catherine smiled. "We accept, but on one condition. The new council must be based on equality and respect, not fear and secrets." Nora Chen stood by the window, looking up at the stars. They no longer seemed distant and unreachable. They were now the future, open to humanity at last. Alan Morgan joined her. "The Void Collective isn't completely destroyed. They'll be back someday. And we'll be ready," Nora replied. "Not just Earth, but all of us together." Above them, Council and Earth ships flew side by side, a symbol of the new alliance. The species that had once abandoned Earth now recognized its strength, and humanity had found its true place among the stars.